Let me ask you something personal. Is there one person in your life, a friend, a sister, maybe your own spouse, who you believe knows you completely, someone you trust with everything? Hold that person in your mind, because by the time this video ends, you may realize that the most dangerous person in your life is not your enemy. It is the person you trusted too much. My name is Eleanor. I am 74 years old, and I am not proud of everything I am about to tell you. I had a dream stolen from me, not by a stranger, but by the people sitting at my own dinner table. I had my retirement quietly drained, not by a thief, but by people who called me family. I had my deepest secret spread across my entire community by the one woman I thought would never breathe a word. And I watched my closest friendship of 30 years end in a single phone call that lasted less than 2 minutes. None of this happened because I was careless. None of this happened because I was naive. It happened because I talked, because I believed that sharing meant connecting, that honesty meant safety, that the people who loved me would protect what I gave them. I was wrong. Every single time I was wrong. So today I want to give you something it took me 5 decades to learn. 5 things you must never say out loud, not to family, not to friends, not to anyone. Because once certain words leave your mouth, you cannot chase them back down, and the damage they leave behind, that stays forever. CTA early. Before I continue, if you are someone who has ever been burned by trusting the wrong person, hit that subscribe button, because everything I share on this channel comes from real life, real mistakes, real consequences, no fluff, no performance, just hard truth from someone who lived it. Now, let's begin. Secret 1, your plans. Secret number 1, your plans. Whatever you are building right now, whatever dream is sitting quietly in your chest, do not tell a single soul until it is done. I learned this when I was 34 years old. I had spent 3 years saving money, working overtime, skipping vacations, cutting every corner I could. I had a plan, a real one. I wanted to open a small flower shop in my neighborhood. Nothing grand. Just a little storefront with big windows, fresh flowers every morning, the kind of place that makes people slow down when they walk past. I had found the perfect location. I had spoken to a landlord. I had a number in my bank account that finally made it possible. And then I made the mistake that cost me everything. I got excited. I told people. I told my mother at Sunday lunch. She put her fork down and said, "Eleanor, a flower shop?" "Honey, do you know how many small businesses fail in the first year?" I told my closest friend over coffee. She laughed, not cruelly, just casually, and said, "You, running a shop? You can barely keep your houseplants alive." I told my older sister. She sat back in her chair and said, "I just don't want to see you lose that money. You worked so hard for it. Be careful." They weren't trying to destroy me. I believe that now, but they did it anyway, because every single conversation planted a seed of doubt, and those seeds grew. Slowly, quietly, they grew. And by the time 3 months had passed, I had talked myself completely out of it. I told myself I'd wait until the timing was better. Wait until I had more saved. Wait until I felt more ready. 40 years later, I am still waiting. And that corner storefront? Someone else opened a flower shop there 12 years ago. I drove past it last spring. There were buckets of tulips outside. A woman was arranging them in the window, humming to herself. I had to pull over. I sat in my car for 10 minutes. That was supposed to be my life. Here is what I know now that I wish I had known then. When you announce a dream before it exists, two things happen. First, your brain gets a small rush of satisfaction just from talking about it. It feels like progress, but it is not progress. It is the illusion of progress, and that illusion kills your urgency. Second, the people around you, even the ones who love you, will project their own fears onto your dream, their own failures, their own regrets, and they will dress those fears up as concern for you. So here is the rule: work in silence, build in silence. When people ask what you are up to, smile and say, "Not much, same old." Keep it completely vague, and then, when it is done, when it is real, when it is standing and breathing and no one can take it from you anymore, that is when you share, because by then it is too late for anyone to stop you. Silence is not secrecy. Silence is protection. Secret 2, your money. Secret number 2, your finances. Never, and I mean never, let people know what you have. I want to tell you about my neighbor Frank, retired school teacher, 71 years old, spent his entire career living carefully, saving quietly, investing slowly. By the time he retired, he had built something solid, not wealthy, just secure, enough to live well, travel occasionally, sleep without financial anxiety. Frank was a generous man, a proud man, and at a family Christmas dinner 4 years ago, when his son-in-law asked how retirement was going, Frank smiled and said, "Honestly, I'm comfortable. I worked hard, and I'm taken care of. It feels good." That was all he said. Within 6 weeks, his phone had not stopped ringing. His nephew needed help with student debt, $22,000. Just a loan, he said. "I'll pay you back," he said. Frank said yes, because family is family. His younger brother called. A business idea. Needed startup money. 30,000, just temporary. Frank said yes. An old college friend reached out after 8 years of silence. Medical situation. 15,000. Frank said yes. Then a cousin, then a former colleague, then people he barely remembered. Everyone suddenly remembered Frank existed. Everyone suddenly had an urgent need. And Frank, because he is a good man, kept saying yes. 2 years later, he called me. His voice was different, quiet and flat in a way I had not heard before. He said, "I thought I was being generous. I thought I was helping people I loved. But I just realized something. Not one of them has called me since they got what they needed. Not one birthday message. Not one holiday visit. I turned myself into a bank, and when the bank said no more, they closed the account and walked away." I did not know what to say, so I said nothing, and we just sat on the phone together in silence for a while. That is what money does when people know you have it. You stop being a person, you become a resource, and resources get used until they run dry. So here is the rule. When people ask how you're doing financially, say the same thing every time. Getting by, you know how it is. Keep it vague, keep them uncertain, not because you are being dishonest, but because your security is yours to protect. The people who truly love you do not need to know your bank balance, and the people who ask about your bank balance, they are showing you exactly who they are. Secret 3, your pain. Secret number 3, your suffering. This one is the hardest to hear, but I need you to hear it. Nobody, and I mean this with complete compassion, nobody wants to carry your pain with them. I have a friend named Carol. She is 72 now. Wonderful woman, sharp mind, warm heart. But Carol has had serious health problems for the past several years. Arthritis so bad some mornings she cannot open her own hands. back pain that wakes her at 3 a.m., fatigue that makes a trip to the grocery store feel like climbing a mountain, and for a long time Carol was honest about it. When people asked how she was doing, she told them the truth. She described the pain, the sleepless nights, the doctor appointments, the medication that was not working. She thought she was being real, vulnerable, authentic. But slowly, without anyone saying a word, things changed. The invitations stopped coming. Friends stopped calling as often. When they did call, the conversations felt shorter, more careful. People started avoiding certain topics around her, and Carol noticed that when she walked into a room, the energy shifted. She told me, "I don't understand. I was just being honest. I thought honesty was what real friendship looked like." I told her the truth as gently as I could. Honesty is not the same as broadcasting. Everyone at our age is carrying something heavy, aching joints, complicated diagnoses, sleepless nights, grief that doesn't have a name yet. When you put your pain on the table every time you see someone, you are not connecting with them. You are reminding them of their own pain. And people will quietly, without even meaning to, start avoiding the person who makes them feel worse. This does not make them bad people. It makes them human. So here is the rule. Talk to your doctor about your physical pain. Talk to your spouse or one truly trusted person about your emotional pain. Get the support you need from people who are positioned to actually help. But to everyone else, carry yourself with dignity. Ask about their lives. Be the person who makes the room feel lighter, not because you are pretending, but because you are choosing who you want to be seen as. Your pain is real. It is valid. It is yours, but it does not need to be your introduction. Secret 4, your past. Secret number 4, your mistakes. The things you did that you are not proud of. The choices that still wake you up at 3 a.m. The version of yourself you have spent years trying to move past. Keep them. They are yours, and they should stay that way. I want to tell you about a woman I know. I will call her Grace. She is 68 years old, and she made a mistake in her late 30s that she carried silently for almost 30 years. During a very dark stretch of her marriage, loneliness, distance, feeling completely invisible to the man she had built her life with, she made a choice she regretted the moment it was over. She stayed in her marriage. She worked on it. Over the years, things genuinely improved. She became a different person, a better one, and she spent 3 decades quietly making up for something that no one around her even knew had happened. But the guilt stayed. It sat in her chest like a stone. And one afternoon, after a particularly long and honest conversation with a woman from her church group, a woman she had known for 7 years, a woman she genuinely trusted, Grace thought maybe if she finally said it out loud, some of that weight would lift. So she told her, all of it, and for about 4 days it did feel lighter. Then the whispers started. A woman at church looked at her differently, then another. Then her name came up in a conversation she was not supposed to hear, and within 3 weeks, something she had protected for 30 years was being discussed by people who did not know her, had not lived her life, and had no idea what those years had actually looked like. One woman looked her in the eye and said, "Honestly, Grace, I don't care how long ago it was. Some things you just don't come back from." Grace left that church. She never returned. She told me later, "I thought saying it out loud would set me free. Instead, it handed strangers a weapon, and they used it." Here is the truth. People say they do not judge. They are wrong. People say time heals everything. Also wrong. The moment you hand someone your worst moment, you have given them permanent power over you. And no matter how many years have passed, no matter how completely you have changed, once they know, they will always see you through that lens first. So here is the rule. Your past is not a confession waiting to happen. You do not owe anyone your worst moments. Learn from them. Sit with them. Forgive yourself quietly and completely, but do not hand them to people who have no idea what to do with them. Some things are not secrets because you are hiding. Some things are secrets because they simply belong to you. Secret 5, other people's secrets. Secret number 5, and this one might be the most important of all. Other people's secrets. If someone trusts you with something they have never told another living person, you take it to your grave. Full stop. No exceptions. I want to tell you about a man named Douglas. He is 76 years old, and he lost his closest friend of 34 years because of one moment of weakness. His friend, I will call him Ray, had confided in Douglas years earlier. Something deeply personal, something painful and private that Ray had carried alone for a long time. He chose Douglas because Douglas was the safest person he knew. Douglas never intended to betray him. But one evening his wife noticed he seemed distant and upset. She asked what was wrong, and Douglas, meaning no harm, thinking it would go no further, told her, "Just her, just this once." His wife told her sister. Her sister mentioned it to a friend, and within 2 months, something Ray had shared with one person in complete trust had traveled through an entire social circle and come back to him from a direction he never expected. Ray called Douglas on a Tuesday afternoon. Douglas told me he still remembers exactly where he was standing when the phone rang. Ray's voice was very quiet. He said, "I told you something I have never told anyone else in my life, and now I just heard it repeated back to me by someone I barely know. How did that happen, Douglas?" Douglas tried to explain, tried to apologize, said he never meant for it to go anywhere. Ray said, "I know you didn't mean it, but it happened, and I can't unknow that." He hung up. They have not spoken since. Douglas told me, 34 years gone, not because of a fight, not because of something we disagreed on, because I told my wife one thing I should have kept to myself. One thing, 34 years. Here is what I want you to understand. When someone tells you a secret, they are not just sharing information. They are handing you the most vulnerable part of themselves and saying, "I trust you with this. That is sacred. Treat it that way. Do not tell your spouse. Do not tell your best friend. Do not tell anyone, because secrets travel. That is simply what they do. And the moment it leaves you, you are the one who started the chain. You are the one who broke the trust. Guard other people's secrets the way you would guard your own life. Because the reputation of being someone who can truly be trusted, that is one of the rarest and most valuable things a person can have. And it takes one conversation to lose it forever. Closing. Let me leave you with this. I am 74 years old. I have lived long enough to watch words destroy things that took decades to build. I told people my plans, and they talked me out of my own dream. I let people know about my finances, and I watched relationships quietly become transactions. I shared my pain too freely, and I became someone people avoided without even realizing it. I revealed old mistakes, and I handed people a version of me they would never let go of, and I once shared something that was not mine to share, and I paid a price for it that I am still paying. These are not lessons from a book. These are scars. and I am telling you about them so that yours do not have to look the same. Guard your plans until they are real. Guard your finances like your security depends on it, because it does. Carry your pain with dignity. Keep your past where it belongs, and protect other people's trust like it is the most precious thing they have ever given you. Because it is. Stay wise, stay quiet, stay protected. If this reached you today, if any part of this felt familiar, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And leave me a comment below. Tell me which of these 5 hit closest to home for you. I read every single one. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, and remember, your silence is not weakness. Your silence is wisdom.